What is the correct shoulder length? This question keeps popping up in our comments and DMs, and my answer is always the same. Correct for what? What do you want your final garment to be? How do you want it to sit on you? How do you want it to look? How do you want it to move? Because the idea of correct shoulder length is really strange when we're talking about fashion design. And that's exactly what we do here. We teach you how to design your own patterns, how to design the clothes that you want to wear. And when you are designing something, not just following instructions, you are making decisions. And there is no such thing as right or wrong decision. Your decision is based on what you want from your final garment. Simple as that. And the better you understand how the whole pattern drafting works, the more deliberate those decisions become. You start understanding much better how your decisions impact the final design. What happens if you make your shoulder longer? What happens if you make it shorter? What if you add more volume here or remove it there? All of this is not some sort of black magic. It's pattern logic. And once you understand that logic, you are unstoppable. The idea of this universally correct shoulder length makes as much sense as the correct width of the trousers or correct length of the skirt. It's very subjective and it depends on what you want from your garment. When you start designing a pattern, you need to ask yourself questions. When will I wear it? Is it for a special event or every day? How does it work with all the other clothes in my wardrobe? What do I want to make with this fabric? How do I want this garment to sit on me? All of these are just decisions that you make. I know that some people just want to have the answer. Just give me the right number. What should it be? And if this is the question that you ask and you want someone to tell you exactly what to do, then I do invite you to type this question into any search engine, because I refuse to give you one absolute answer where no absolute answer exists. It's all very individual. It always depends on what you want. When you are designing clothes, you don't have to look behind your shoulder and ask for permission. What is the correct way? The one that you decide is correct for this project. Let's look into this shirt I'm wearing today because it's a fantastic example of why correct shoulder length is not a thing. If you've been following us for a while, you know that I love relaxed oversized fit, and the shirt obviously is no exception. I know it might not be for everyone, but it is for me. And when I was designing the pattern for the shirt, I was also thinking about the fabric that I'll be using. I had this cut of cotton, has horizontal stripes, and usually shirts are made with vertical stripes. So I was really brainstorming what could I do with the shirt to make it look nice, because the idea of plain horizontal stripes all along the shirt was just not doing it for me. So I decided to use the stripes as part of the design. While the main body of the shirt keeps as horizontal stripes, I designed yokes both on the back and on the front, and I rotated the fabric. So here I have vertical stripes. And here is the thing. Because I extended my shoulder, it's much longer than my actual shoulder, yeah? And because I have vertical stripes here, and because I have this puffy sleeves, my shoulders look even bigger. And I love it. This is exactly how I imagined the shirt to be. And I know there'll be someone who would think that the shirt would have looked much better if the sleeve was sitting right at the actual shoulder point. Now here is the thing. If this is what you want to do for your shirts, go for it. In this case, I didn't. I intended for the shirt to have a dropped shoulder. All of this was done purposefully because I knew what final look, what final silhouette I was going for. Your body measurements and the measurements of the clothes that you wear are not the same thing. They don't have to be the same thing. You can deliberately choose to make clothing fit looser or tighter if that's what you want. But again, all of these are just decisions. And another important thing is not just how you design the garment, but also why you design it this way. How do you plan to wear it? I had a few ideas how I wanted to wear this shirt. One of them was to wear it with this pair of white shorts. Now, I have a pear-shaped body, and as you might know, white is not generally recommended for bodies like mine because light colors make things look visually bigger, while darker colors make them look visually smaller. So yes, absolutely, a pair of white shorts does add a bit of more visual weight to my hips. And according to this logic, I shouldn't be even wearing them. But if I'm not talking about white shorts separately, but I'm talking about them as a part of the outfit, things are changing. Now these shorts don't exist in isolation. Look at the heavy lifting that this shirt is doing. It's not only visually busy, I also created deliberate volume, extra volume around my shoulders. And what happens? This extra volume is pulling the eye away from my bottom onto my top. And that's exactly how I envisioned this outfit. So next time you want to ask what is the correct shoulder length, ask yourself first, what do you want from this garment? How do you want it to look? How do you want it to feel? There is no right standard answer. There is a list of decisions that you can make to achieve the results that you want. And the secret tool to designing custom patterns is working with your custom pattern blocks. Custom pattern blocks are not a ready pattern yet, but they are the beginning of every single pattern because they contain your measurements, your body, and your fit preferences in them. And once you have them sorted, you can design any pattern you want in a matter of minutes. Let me show you how I used my custom pattern blocks to design this shirt and this pair of shorts. How to design a pattern for a shirt with puffy sleeves and a pleat on the back. As always, I'm starting with my custom blocks. For this shirt, I'll be using my blocks with 40 centimeters ease. These are my standard miniatures, but in real size, I'm using blocks with slightly extended shoulder, but the principle remains the same. First, I want to copy my blocks onto new pieces of paper. In case of the front, I can align it with the edge and just copy it as it is. And in case of the back, it's slightly different. So I leave some space over here for the pleat and copy it same way, just as it is. And I want to start with the back. First, I will decide where my yoke will be sitting. Let's say something like this. And I just draw a line. So let's say this is B1, which makes this B2, right? Separate details. On the back, I also want to have a big pleat. All I need to do is just to extend this middle part a little bit to the side to allow me to fold this much for the pleat. That's all. So this is 1/2 of my pleat. Next, I decide on the length of my shirt, something like this. It's not super long. And as always, I'm doing slight A-line, something like this, and connect with my armpit. And I can cut my back out. That's the back pattern done. Now the front. The same, I decide on the yoke, somewhere here. Front 1, front 2, and I also make it longer. A-line, same way as the back, and cut it out. One more thing here, I want to add a nice curve at my side seam, so I align them and draw a nice curve like that. And cut it out. One more detail for the front pattern is the button stand. Here it's a separate detail, which is basically a strip of fabric. I'll be connecting it after my yokes are stitched. I will be adding this to both details. Now, after this is done, I can design my collar. This will be a classic shirt collar, which means it consists of two pieces, the stand and the fall. For the stand, I am measuring here in blue dots, the entire neckline here, including the button stand. And for the fall of the collar, I am measuring only my neckline along my bodice parts before the button stand. So the stand of the collar is this kind of shape. To make it sit better around your neck, you want to lift it up a little bit. So kind of like that. And this will be the final shape. If you stand, yeah, this is the middle point. Yeah, this is 1/2. And for the fall, we measured the distance without the button stand, so it will be a bit shorter. I usually just make them very simple. Again, this is the middle. A rectangular shape because I like the way it falls. And the last part is the sleeve. I won't be making the full length. It's maybe something like this. It's a very basic, very simple puffy sleeve. Here is the back. And then I kind of just move it front and redraw the line. I gather it over here on the top, and inside here I insert elastic along the entire length, and that's it. That's the pattern ready. Let's very quickly confirm the grain directions. In the sleeve will be going through the middle, through the center. In my case, for the button stand, it's actually going against the grain because I wanted the vertical stripes. This collar for me goes against the grain, and this goes along the grain. Now here the grain parallel to the center front, and here is the opposite. Same here and here. And there you have it, from my basic blocks to a brand new shirt pattern. How to make a pattern for the shorts. First, we're gonna copy the tops of our basic trouser blocks. Obviously, the length will depend on how long you want your shorts to be. I'm kind of going a little bit above the knee. You design the length of your shorts on your inner seams. You take the tape measure, put it on the rib, and you mark the same length on each side, front and back. So this is my new inner seam length. I love an A-line short, so I go ahead to my line before the hip depth and I just extend it straight down this way, so it creates a nice and subtle A-line shape on each side. And now I put my ruler here, and the goal is to get to the 90-degree angle over here. So the hem on the shorts goes a little bit up this way. See here, I'm hitting 90 degrees. Doesn't matter which side you do first, back or front. And now I measure this length so that my side seams match, and do the same here. And that's it. That's my shorts pattern done. Nothing else changes. One thing I usually do here, I remove the front dart and I chop it off from the side seam here. It does the same job. And now to add a pocket to the front, I just decide on the shape. I realize that for me, I prefer just straight diagonal lines. For the pocket, I go ahead and I copy my waistline and my side seam. Now I draw the pocket shape like that. And now I copy it again for the pocket lining, chop off my pocket entrance, align the waistline and the side seam, and copy the entrance and remove this corner. That's done. So pocket base, pocket lining, and my short front. And now last few details, the shield for the fly zip, basically rectangular shape with slight curve, and I design it based on the size of my zip. You don't have to design a pattern for the waistband. Basically, it's just a long rectangular shape, and that's it. That's the pattern for the shorts with pockets done. You see how simple and straightforward it is. And this is exactly why every single time someone asks, "Hey, I love it. Do you have a pattern for that?" The answer is complicated. I do have a pattern that I designed for my body, but it doesn't mean that you want my pattern, because it will most likely not work on you the same way it works on me. You don't have to rely on someone else's patterns. You can absolutely learn how to design your own. I don't want you to copy me or follow my instructions. I want you to understand how this whole thing actually works, so that you gain the true independence in clothes making. Once you learn pattern drafting, you won't have to look for another pattern ever again. You will know exactly how to design it from scratch based on your custom blocks. And instead of asking questions about the correct shoulder length, you'll be making decisions based on what you want to create. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Friday. Maya, what do you have to say about it? That's very wise. Thank you.